Um, I'm, as Isaac, maybe you captured from what Isaac's introduction, I'm not an expert in codes. Where I'm coming from, I'm responsible for the state's portion of Illinois' energy efficiency portfolio. We have kind of a unique situation with our energy programs in the state. 25% of the programs are run by the state and 75% by the utilities. Our focus is on public sector projects, low income, and then market transformation training education programs. So we focus, codes is part of what we focus on. But using the money from our efficiency portfolio for codes at this point doesn't get us any energy savings. So, and yet we have mandatory goals we have to meet. So part of my interest in the codes compliance study is ultimately, being able to measure where we're at and, ultimately be able to claim credit if we can improve the compliance. We have in Illinois. There's 3 codes-related mandates that we're responsive to. We have the Energy Efficient Building Act. Our Capital Development Board adopts a statewide building code that the local jurisdictions then have to be compliant with. And that law for commercial for the last 5 years, and then more recently residential code, requires adoption of the most recent IECC model code. So 2000, we've adopted 2009 for both residential and commercial, and by this time next year we're going to be into 12. So and then in that same act, it mandates at DCO, the Illinois Energy Office, to provide technical assistance to local jurisdictions to assist on implementation and enforcement. And then our statewide efficiency portfolio, as I mentioned, also requires us and the utilities to put specific proposals forward in our plans to the Illinois Commerce Commission on how we're going to spend the money on how we will implement new building codes and standards. So basically, under that portfolio, we and the utilities agreed, since the state's already providing the training programs, that we would continue to handle that aspect of it. And then finally, the ERA mandate to reach the 90% compliance. We had 3 goals for our compliance study. The first, of course, was to test the methodologies for measuring state energy code compliance. Second was to get a preliminary assessment of where we're at on the residential and commercial buildings, what the rates may be, and then finally to identify obstacles to code compliance that we could potentially address through our training and technical assistance and code interpretation programs. There were 2 parts of the study, and MEEA was our lead on the study. The first part was the actual trying to measure the compliance rate and test the methodologies, and then the second is we put some money into doing some advanced code training for local code officials, and the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus had the lead on that. Whoever was here yesterday may have heard a little bit from Kate, right? I think I just put one slide in on it. I'm basically going to focus on the first part. But we are hoping to learn lessons from both to help us improve our training. On the second part of it, Kate provided assistance to 10 municipalities she brought in, tried to look at where their gaps were compared to best practices in enforcing codes. They did some workshops, including some field training. Took a look at best practices, and they had discussions among the different codes officials and challenges and different ways they've interpreted things and so on. The residential and commercial code studies, we, as with the other studies, using the BECP protocols, we picked a sample of 44 residential buildings. We weren't able to do the same with commercial due to limited time, but we, across 35 Illinois jurisdictions, we were able to inspect the buildings, applying the BECP protocols and measuring, relative to 2009 code. The residential study, this basically shows the distribution of the buildings that we were able to sample, and we had a professional team that focused on the different areas and went through the checklist and verified the compliance. On the commercial study, as I said, we were only able to do to 10 sites, distributed among large, small, and medium projects. Some of the challenges in the study, one, we weren't really able to obtain a true random sample, and in part that was a lack of cooperation from some communities where there may have been distrust of a state-sponsored study. I think was a challenge. In other areas, as Brian mentioned, where there was some rural areas where there's very little construction going on.